Okay, to our first inductee. Our first inductee is the 1977 graduate of Jesuit and a standout soccer player both for Jesuit and the SMU Mustangs. Please direct your attention to the screen as we introduce John Koeijmans.
John Koeijmans from the class of 1977. One of the most decorated soccer players in Jesuit's long and storied history, Koeijmans was a 4-year starter and 3-time All-State selection. During his senior campaign, in which he was named both captain and MVP, Koeijmans averaged nearly 2 goals per game while leading the Rangers to a 13-2 overall record, district title, and runner-up honors at the TCIL state championships. Following graduation, Koeijmans took his talents to SMU, where he helped guide the Mustangs to back-to-back appearances at the NCAA championships, including the program's first ever bid in 1979. A tenacious forward with numerous multi-goal games, the Mustangs were nationally ranked in the top 10 all 4 years during Koeijmans' collegiate tenure.
First off, I want to say, I think that we really were, our group, our time, we really were the kind of leading edge of kids dedicating themselves in their athletic pursuits to playing soccer. And John was one of those guys.
John Koeijmans came from the Hank Meinster era, and that era had a mystique about it that when you walk through the trophy hall there at Jesuit, you'd see all the awards and accolades, and there was a black and white photo that was there of a state championship team. And you see the team with Hank, and they're all full of mud and everybody's going crazy. So John came from that era, and he was a 4-year varsity player for the team. And his sophomore, junior, and senior year, he was all-state. And his senior year, he was captain of the team, and he was most valuable player for that season. And then after Jesuit, went on to SMU, and he played all 4 years there. And SMU was ranked in the top 10 in the nation every single year that he was there. So a very high level of play.
Yeah, John definitely was, the leader on the field as it related to the rest of the team, encouraging us. And I will say that it's very true that when he played, he engaged other players so that we were better. We were better players because of him.
John just stood out as a true man for others, and somebody that is giving back to the community.
And his dad, Jerry Koeijmans, great guy. He was part of the Dutch Mafia. There were 3 coaches that were part of our Jesuit high school team. Coach Meinzer, Coach Winnips, and then John's dad, Coach Koeijmans.
So it is with great pleasure that we're inducting John into the Sports Hall of Fame for 2014, and congratulations, John.
So John, on behalf of class 1977, as well as all of our teammates, soccer teammates, I wanted to congratulate you on this honor that you're so deservedly getting, and just wanted to congratulate you, and couldn't think of a better guy to be recognized from our era. I know your dad is watching this, and he's very proud of you for having achieved this honor. He was very dedicated to soccer, dedicated to his family, also all of us other kids as well. And I know he's very happy to see you being recognized in this way.
Members of the Sports Hall of Fame receive a blue blazer as a symbol of their admittance to this prestigious group. John has selected 2 people to present this Sports Hall of Fame blue coat: his friend and 1977 Jesuit classmate Kevin Whalen, and his son JR from the class of 2004. Ladies and gentlemen, John Koeijmans.
What an exciting night for me and my family. I am humbled by all the support here tonight. I would like to thank the selection committee. It is an honor to be in this Jesuit group of inductees. When I received the call from Tim Trevino that I was being inducted into the Jesuit Hall of Fame, I wanted to make sure he knew it was soccer that I played, and it was 1974 to 1977. But I later realized it wouldn't have mattered because Tim was about 6 years old at the time. This award means a great deal to me because as a child, soccer was my life. I loved the game. My dad was the reason that I played soccer. He was born in Holland, and he didn't know how to throw a football or shoot a basketball, but he knew the game of soccer. During my childhood, soccer here in the States was just getting started, and you couldn't even buy a soccer ball in Dallas. So my grandmother sent us one from Holland. I still remember what it looked like. It was solid brown. It had a small patch that you would have to move to the side so you could find the inner tube so you could pump it up. Nick and I would get in the backyard on Vanderbilt, and Dad would play goalie, and we would shoot on him for hours at a time. That wooden fence had many broken slats. Nick and I, Tony wasn't even born, were fortunate to have played at an early age, which gave us a tremendous advantage over everyone else. I have to say that my 4 years at Jesuit, from 1974 to 1977, were some of the best years of my life. What I remember 37 years ago, and why it was such a great experience for me, was really a combination of three things. The first is that soccer is such a beautiful game. To see 11 players read each other, to have that touch, that skill, that speed, the ball control while sprinting is amazing. And the goals are just beautiful. There's not many of them, but when you see one, it's usually pretty incredible. And the people associated with sport are crazy, passionate about this game, which makes it even more enjoyable. The second thing that made those 4 years so memorable for me was you had this wonderful man that we called Coach, and that was Hank Mainzer. Coach Mainzer was also a Dutchman who knew the game and had the passion. He was a supportive coach. I can remember losing a game. Instead of him getting mad and making us run, he would just say, "We'll get them next year." I remember him chalking the field, putting up the nets, building goalposts. He did so much. He was truly a man for others. The third and final thing that made my experience so good was this wonderful school. Soccer in 1977 was kind of a second-class sport. Nobody understood it, and nobody came to watch, except Shelley. But in typical Jesuit style, they were so accepting of the sport and did everything to promote it. Father Schwing came to almost every game. I remember he would crack those pecans in his hand, and he would give me one at halftime. Father Heaney would see me the next day and would say, "Okay, Johnny, you scored 3 goals last night, way to go." The thing about Jesuit is they have always had such great people here that have made an impact on the students, which is so evident by how all the students come back and give to Jesuit. Our class in 1977 is a great example. Jesuit has always been a special school, but I think even more so today. 2 quick Jesuit soccer stories, and then I will conclude. During my 4 years at Jesuit, most everybody called me Coy Boy. I got that name when I was a freshman, 13 years old, and playing on the varsity team. No one on the team could pronounce my last name, so they just started calling me Coy Boy. As a matter of fact, some people still think of me as Coy Boy. Austin Blankenship, a young Jesuit alum that we hired, was on a plane just the other day, sitting next to a guy. And they started up a conversation, and they found out that they both were Jesuit grads. Austin tells him, "As a matter of fact, I work for a Jesuit alum, and his name is John Koeijmans." And the other guy says, "Oh, you mean Coy Boy?" It turned out to be James Hest, one of our classmates. My second story was during my senior year, and we were playing for the TCIL state championship against Jesuit Strike in Houston. We took the Blue Goose to Houston, and Coach Gary Pasquay was driving. I think most of you know that Coach Pasquay was our football coach, and Jesuit football is king, and deservedly so. After regulation time and 2 overtimes, the game was still tied. We had the opportunity to score, but we couldn't execute, so we then went to penalty kicks. The bottom line is we lost in penalty kicks. We did, however, all walk away with our heads high because we played such a good game. The most important thing about that evening was Coach Mainzer came up to me after the game and he said, "Great game." He said, "Coach Pasquay was so impressed with our effort and performance that now Jesuit soccer is definitely on the map." And as they say, the rest is history. Next year, when Pat Doyle was a senior, they won the first TCIL state soccer championship, as well as the following year when Nick and Chris Mahold were seniors. 2 or 3 years later, Charlie DeLong took over for Hank Mainzer. Charlie has won 14 TCIL state championships, ranked number 1 in the nation a few years ago, and consistently in the top 20 high school programs in the country. Jesuit soccer is on the map, and I am fortunate I had a little something to do with it. In conclusion, I want to thank this selection committee again and everyone associated with Jesuit because this school means a lot to me and to my family. I'm a blessed man, and I owe a lot to soccer, to Jesuit, and even though I didn't talk about it, to SMU as well. Thank you.
John, before you leave the stage, former teammate and classmate John Lohr would like to come up and present you with an award.
Got a Jesuit soccer shirt for John. Special on the back says Johnny Football.